So who should Arsenal sign this summer? Before we answer that question, it will be very important for us to go back to the business we did last summer and analyze what went wrong or what went right. And then that way we can decide and have a very clear picture what sort of players we should be going for in the current summer transfer window, especially because Arsenal have already just won a Premier League title. And if you're going to improve on a team that has just won a title, you'll have to reflect on what went wrong or what went right in the previous summer to get the best idea of what kind of profile of players you should be signing. So let's get into it. We'll go through all the list of players that we signed in the last summer transfer window, figure out which ones were hits or miss. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with any of the assessments that I do in this video. And let's get into it. Okay, so Eberechi is the first one. Eberechi for me was the major reason Arsenal won the Premier League title. We had the issue of injuries with Martin Odegaard, and we knew that he was going to be unavailable for a very good portion of the season because of his injury record. And we didn't have a natural replacement for Odegaard. So getting Eze was a master stroke. Eze came in, both in the Premier League and the Champions League. He has been that guy that has made that difference and made Arsenal really, really solid. And in crucial moments, I can think of the Spurs game and many other Champions League matches, especially against Bayern Leverkusen, several other games, decisive moments in the Premier League and in the Champions League. Eze showed up big. So Eze was a hit for sure. Gyökeres, excellent player, similar to Eze. He's been the difference between, in fact, highest goal scorer for Arsenal this season. He's a winner by design, by nature. He's a fighter. He may not always get it right, but when he clicks, he can destroy any opponent. So Gyökeres for sure is a hit. Now Zubimendi, another hit. You might say he burnt out at some point in the season. He played insane number of games over the course of the season. He did, I think, 55 games or more. And at some point he was fatigued. And you could see that play out. And very good props to Arteta for being able to catch that and replace him with Marcus Kelly at some point, and that saved our season. But Zubimendi is a hit. He's still a very, very important part of the Arsenal squad. And he might not always start every time going into next season, but we'll see. He's a fantastic player. He's a hit. Mosquera, fantastic squad player. He came in at some point. We're not even sure between him and Saliba who should be starting. That's how you actually know a player that is a hit. We spent the bulk of the funds we had last summer, signing squad players who may not necessarily start games, apart from Zubimendi and Gyökeres, who was signed to start. Majority of the players we signed last summer were designed to be squad players. And that was fantastic because that's part of the reason Arsenal won the league. But going into next season, the mindset has to be different. We have to be looking to improve the first 11. And so that's even more difficult. You're likely going to spend money on fewer players, but very high quality players. And so you have to get it right. So yes, Mosquera was a hit. He did what he needed to do when he was to cover up for Saliba, at right centre back, and also when we needed to, put him in right back position to cover for Timber, because most of the season Ben White was not really there. So he was a hit as well. Now Hincapié is a fantastic player. He was signed on a loan, and very certainly Arsenal I'm almost 100% certain Arsenal are going to complete that permanent move for Hincapié. He's a perfect replacement for Calafiori. And if you think about it, just like I said earlier, if you can clearly see the squad challenge that Arteta will have between choosing between the two players assigned to each position, you can tell that squad player is the right one. You can even going into Champions League final, you cannot be certain who should start that final. Should it be Calafiori or should it be Hincapié? That's the sort of problem the manager should have, and you got it right. If you think about some of the games, Arsenal we could not tell even as fans who should be starting between Gyökeres and Kai Havertz, even though we still need to upgrade our squad player for the centre forward position. For some games you cannot tell. Between Eze and Martin Odegaard, it's difficult to tell who should start in some games, but sometimes they both complement each other, and that's the sort of level you want to have. So that's, for me, for sure, Hincapié was a hit. Kepa, for me, Kepa was a good deal that made sense at the time. Very affordable deal. He's somebody that had good history of winning things. He came in, not a decent player. I'm not too sure if Arsenal will want to keep him going forward, because you don't want to have players you don't trust. Part of the reason why we lost out in the FA Cup and also lost that final against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup was because of Kepa. Maybe if we had played David Ryan in that final, we probably would have won that Carabao Cup. He made a couple of errors. So I don't know. Maybe we can still keep him going into next season, but I'll leave that decision to Mikel Arteta. But what I don't want is having to keep a player we don't trust. It's very disastrous. Now I get to the players that may not be hit. So Kepa was a hit at the time. Good decision. I don't know if it's still going to be a good decision going into next season, but we'll let Arteta make that decision. Norgard was not a hit. It made sense at the time. We missed Thomas Partey very obviously. There are some games where we wished we had Thomas Partey. And it's not that Nogard is not a good player, just that Teta didn't trust him enough to play him when we needed him the most. So several times we knew we needed to rest Zubimendi, but Arteta will still not trust Nogard. And the times he came on, to be fair, he did fantastic. He did well for me, in my opinion. So you don't keep a player you don't trust. You don't sign a player you don't trust, in my opinion. So he might need to move on just because Arteta doesn't trust him enough, to play him when he matters the most, right? So for me, Arsenal need to upgrade that position. We'll get to who should be signed, as replacement for the players that will be leaving very soon. But for me, Nogard was not a good decision. I would have preferred we kept Thomas Partey for one more season, to be fair. Hopefully if he was going to be fit, I think he was fit for this year anyway, but I don't think it was a good decision. Madueke. Now, Madueke was a fair decision. Most fans protested when they heard the news that Arsenal were potentially going to be signing Madueke. I don't think he's at the level of Saka yet. And just imagine going into the Champions League final and you're thinking that at any stage within the game, you may have to introduce Madueke as a replacement for Saka. Now, he's not a bad player. He's good. He's still learning. He's still on an upward trajectory. Because of the number of players Arsenal might need to sign, I think we might just need to leave Madueke for another season. But he's not yet at Saka's level. He still has a long way to go. If I were to redo this decision again with Madueke, I'll probably not have signed Madueke. I will have signed a player like Semenyo. But anyway, we have him now. We'll let Arteta do what he needs to do. But if you need to he's not a touch point for the summer, but let's see what happens. But I think he's still okay for another year. Okay, now who needs to come in? If you've watched the video up to this point, please don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Yes, so let's move on. Right, now who needs to come in? This is where it gets interesting. Some names have come up. We've heard from reliable sources that the club will be backing Arteta again this summer, to keep the trajectory going upwards. And so some names have come up. We need a second centre forward. Most likely, Gabriel Jesus will be leaving Arsenal at the end of this season. So we need to sign a striker. Now, we've heard the likes of Julian Alvarez, and for me, the level of Victor Osimhen, those sort of names are the kind of names we need to be looking at this summer. Victor Osimhen, Julian Alvarez, I think it's more like Julian Alvarez. He's going to cost significant amounts of money, but he's still worth it. Arsenal need a player. So just imagine you have Alvarez, who I hear can play on the left as well. And of course, Victor Gyökeres as your strikers. That's a really decent and solid attack. Osimhen would have been good, but there are other things that make Osimhen not a very good option, just because he might not fit in well with the group. We'll see what ends up happening. But Arsenal need to go big for a striker that will definitely be a good replacement for Gyökeres. I don't know if we're going to keep Kai Havertz, but I like him as a person and as a player. So he'll be a player I would love to keep, but we'll see what happens. So Victor, the centre forward position with Julian Alvarez, excellent decision if we end up getting him. Sandro Tonali is a powerful midfielder that can replace, play in the 10, he can play in the 8, he can play in the 6. Powerful defensive midfielder and a central midfielder. He will be a perfect backup for the likes of Rice. He can even play alongside Rice. Imagine you have a pivot of Tonali, Rice, and maybe Eze, for example. Powerful midfield. That's how you lock up the midfield. Powerful players. He can also be a squad. You can use him to rotate. If you play with Mendy or Miles Lewis-Kelly, you can use him to rotate Declan Rice, and you will not have a dropping level. So powerful midfielder. He's not also going to come cheap. If you're going to buy players that are going to come in and get into the first 11 of Arsenal right now, you're going to have to spend a significant amount of money. So Tonali will not come cheap. There might be other options in the market, but I like Sandro Tonali. Now, on the left wing, attacking left wing, I don't know if Trossard is going to be staying beyond the season. We are going to have to wait and see. But some names that have come up, like Junior Krupi, excellent player from Bournemouth. We saw the goal he scored against Manchester City that handed us the title. He's a fantastic player. He's very pacey. He can play either on the left wing or he can play centre forward. He's a very good player. I don't think if he doesn't get signed before the beginning of the season, he'll probably become even more expensive. I think he'll be a player. If Arsenal can't sign the likes of Kvaratskhelia, Krupi will be a very good option. I personally like the guy. He's pacey. He's very, very good on the ball. He uses his head very well. He positions his body very well. He's very, very fast as well. So for me, if we cannot get the likes of Kvaratskhelia, or I've heard the likes of I've heard Bakula and all those names. I'm not sure how much Bakula is better than Martinelli. But for me, he's primarily proven. I would take a Junior Krupi as a potential left-wing player and also backup centre forward as well. But we still need to get Julian Alvarez as well. Now, right back, Arsenal we need to get a right back. I think we are certainly going to be Ben White will most likely not be continuing beyond this season. I don't know which names, let me know your thoughts on whatever names you suggest in right back position, but Arsenal need to get a solid right back backup for Timber and he has to be at the level of Timber or even better. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on all of this. For me, 3-4 solid first team players, not even squad players. Okay, you can call the right back or a squad player just because, you know, Timber is still our number one choice. If you can get someone who will give him even more competition, that's better. So center forward, left wing, and then of course central midfield. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on all of this. Do you agree or disagree with any of the names on the list? And let me know any other player you think you know, should be a player that Arsenal should be targeting this season. And for last season's signings, let me know if you agree on if on the hits versus miss, any player who you think might have been, you know, wrongly assessed as a miss. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next video. I'm out.